Welcome to the Agent Leader Podcast. My name is Brent Kelly, your host. Thanks so much for joining me on another episode. And as always, the purpose of the Agent Leader Podcast is to help you, the independent insurance agency leader, to help you gain clarity, to help you build consistency, and to help you make a commitment to become your best version possible. And for our video watchers of the podcast, I'm doing a shameless plug here of our book coming out, which is entitled Best Version Possible. And really excited to get the book out. And we've been sharing that for a few different episodes. But also, I have a guest today that has his own book. So he's already way ahead of me and on thing that he's doing. But I had a conversation a while back with, should I call you doctor? I'm going to give you the proper title, Travis.
You can introduce me as Dr. Parry and then call me Travis the rest of your life.
All right. Well, I want to give you the formal title. So we've got Dr. Parry here with me, AKA we'll also call him Travis, but I want to give you the due respect. But, Dr. Parry / Travis, international speaker. He is a best-selling author. He is a coach and comes from the financial services background. And as I was talking with Dr. Parry, again, a while back, kind of setting up this podcast. In fact, and I told you this, that on our podcast, I typically will have Roger Sitkins with me, who's the founder of our company. I'll interview some of our member guests. I don't have a lot of people outside that scope, but I want to bring Travis in because I know what he's going to share today not only aligns so much of what we talk about, but it's going to add great value to you, the independent insurance agent. And so I was really excited to have Dr. Parry with us today as a guest on the podcast. And without further ado, Dr. Parry, I'll let you kind of introduce yourself and how you got to where you are and the things that you do. But I do want to make one personal caveat. I have 5 kids and everyone says, man, I guess you win. Well, Dr. Parry beats me. He's got more. So yes, 7.
7 children. My wife deserves all the credit. We know that she does all the work. I mean, I'm not a deadbeat dad. I definitely involved in their life, but she is a homeschool mom and we do a lot of traveling. And we actually just put 5,500 miles on our brand new van. And we traveled for 2 weeks, about, 95 hours in the car. So there you go. And that's how crazy we are. Some people are like, wow, what's your superpower? My superpower is going long distances with that. And we don't do videos. We just do like books on tape and try to keep those creative minds learning why we're out and about. So there you go. Little taste of the Parry family household.
Well, blessings and kudos to you. And if anything, outside of this interview, I'll reach out to you again with help on my parenting skills. I think I can learn a lot from you.
Yeah, so I'll connect you with my wife. No, it's funny because we often we listening to parenting tapes and stuff and tapes, audio, books on audio, while we're driving in the car. And our kids are like, why are you guys listening to this? Well, because we want to know. But now we know how you're going to try to use this on us. I'm like, it's nothing secret. We want to be better. Speaking of best version possible. Yeah. Well, I want to first, shameless plug. If you guys are interested in what we're talking about today, go to achievingBalanceBook.com. I actually pretty much give this book away for free. You can get it for $16 on Amazon if you like. Please do. It's nice, little, kickback for me. But if you want to get it for shipping only, you can pay your $8 online and we'll ship it to you. Yeah, I also have other versions, the audio and stuff that's available if you're interested in that. Please take advantage of that, and a bunch of other bonuses that go with it. But basically, how I got to here, how did I get to even thinking about writing a book for financial advisors and insurance professionals? Well, I started with State Farm. I moved to Northwestern Mutual and got my securities license. I went independent. I didn't have my own RIA yet set up, but I was still working independently, and I started charging for plans. And when I set up my own business, as you know, Brent, there's a billion things to do. Oh, you need your logo, you need compliance, and the list just goes on and on. And I found myself realizing that, gee, Travis, you've become quite the workaholic, even though you're trying to help other people not be a workaholic, not be, this ultra productive person who just keeps working. And I really delve into psychology and I did a master's in psychology and a PhD in family relations to really get at the three main myths of why financial advisors and insurance agents just really aren't living a balanced life. And I tackle these in the book. We can talk about them in more detail. But I was able to get the education to now come back to the industry and say, hey guys, I got it. I got this figured out. I know what's going on. I know where we're going wrong. Because the reality is most of us are told, if you just work 5 to 10 years, then after that's going to be gravy. Everything's going to be fine. You're going to have the ideal lifestyle. But it's just not true. And I call it the workaholic trap, especially in this industry where we're focused on our clients. We're focused on the sales. We're focused on building, building, building. We oftentimes get caught in this workaholic trap.
I love that. I know that's good. One of the reasons I wanted to bring you on is just a different vantage point. And I think, again, so many similar things that I certainly align and agree with you on, a different perspective, a fresh perspective. And, I think one of the best ways, the best books I read, the people I talk to, and that I get information from is not because they had it all figured out at first. It's because they screwed it all up first and figured out how to fix it later, right? And so you kind of learn all the mistakes that they've made along the way, which saves you time and energy. At least that's the goal, right? I want to ask you, Travis, on this is, I always want to get, some of the greatest lessons learned, but within it, you obviously, we've mentioned this before, you piqued my interest of these three main myths. So maybe that's part of some of the lessons. I don't want you to you don't want to share all your secret sauce. That's fine. But I would like to know, what do you mean by these myths, and what are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way in working with professionals?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So myth one, I'll actually go through. Myth one is this idea that you can have it all by doing it all. I call those who are in this stage, because it really is a stage, I call this, those advisors who are here, do-it-alls. Like they try to do everything. And they think, if I can just, replicate myself, or if I just work longer, then I'll be able to do some of this stuff. But we know that our energy levels are incredibly important. Like there's no way I'm going to do this podcast at 3 a.m. I'm just not. I want my energy level to be there, and I'm not going to do it in the evening because, I have family time and other things, but my energy is just not there. And we need breaks. We need time away. But if we try to do everything all the time, we think we're Superman, we're going to mess up. We're going to try to multitask. There's an author, Dave Crenshaw, I learned a lot from. He wrote a book called The Myth of Multitasking. Psychology has taught us now that we don't actually multitask. We switch task from one thing to another, to another, to another. If you and I are having this conversation and my team members are trying to get me on Teams and I'm writing back responses to them, it would look like this. Yeah, sure, Brent. Right. And I might answer you something that they're telling me. That's incredibly embarrassing. Not only is it embarrassing, but the quality of my work declines. It actually takes longer to do those two things because your brain actually can't have the power and capacity to do something that's really high and important to do at the same time. It just doesn't. We don't work like that. Computers probably give us a bad rap because it looks like they are multitasking. Now, if it has one processor, it's literally only doing one bit of information at a time, but it does it so fast, it appears it's multitasking. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
it
that's
makes perfect sense.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest things I see with do-it-alls is they're just multitasking their life away. They're multitasking their work time away. They don't focus. They don't plan. And they try to plan. They're just like, I feel so confused. I'm always overwhelmed. And Man, I would hate if that's how my workday was every day. And I felt that way when I was starting my own business. I'm like, this isn't how it's supposed to be. I'm not supposed to feel like this. So what's the solution? The solution tends to actually be the next myth. And that is, well, you got to be productive. You've got to quit multitasking. You've got to create processes that you put in place, an ideal calendar to then be able to keep things in line. Do the most important things at work and do the most important things outside of work. If we're trying to do everything, it's because we're people pleasers or we're afraid. It usually comes down to some of these issues that we've ingrained in ourselves, that we have to appear in something more than we are to our clients or to our friends or family, et cetera. And I've done a lot of research on that. But that's really the kind of the nuts and bolts of myth one. And I explain it, 3 or 4 chapters here in the book. So it's all in there, all the details of how to create, the solution to that.
Love it. Love it. So that's myth number one. I just want just a couple of things to, I guess, ask you or kind of maybe a little extra thought on that. Number one, it hits me. It's funny. I feel like you're talking through my soul a little bit. Because
are you a do-it-all, Brent?
Well,
are you a do-it-all?
I will tell you that it's interesting now because the people that are on my team that see my calendar, and even my wife, she'd be like, "Gosh, no, you're like really organized and focused." Well, I have to be because I know who I am. I don't know a better way of saying that.
Yeah.
That being said, my brain, it's just really difficult. In fact, so every year I give myself a word of the year of just something to be conscious about. And this year's word, I've had the word deep, I've had the word consistent. This year, my word is present. Yes. I just need to be present. And because that's like, I know the next thing and the next thing. I think what you said, Travis, is really important, obviously for a number of reasons. And I guess my follow-up to this myth is, and you mentioned ideal calendar. I've talked about this too. What do you see as like, I know you probably talk about it in your book, but to go from someone who is constantly multitasking, and they would say something like this, Travis, you just don't understand my life. You don't understand my business. You don't understand how it really works.
Yeah, how it really is, of course.
Right.
Yeah, I don't understand.
What would you tell someone like that?
No, not only have I been there, done that, right? I started my own firm. I've worked for two very large firms. And, I was on my way to becoming an independent RIA. I've also been a professor. I've taught classes. I've been in the academic world. So I've had experiences that most financial advisors, they just don't have the breadth of experience. It may have been short-lived in each of these areas, but I have a breadth of experience like nobody else. And so I get it. I know how it is to be there. I know how it is to be like, I've got underwriting on, down, I'm trying to knock at my door. I've got to get back to them. They're not getting back to me. I've got compliance screaming at me. I've got clients emailing me, texting me what's going on. And I've got marketing things I've got to take care of. Like, I know how to run all that. In fact, in my second year as an advisor, Brent, I had 3 people on my team. I know the value of delegating. And so I hired full and part-time marketing, underwriting specialists, and client specialists. Okay. I had those 3 delegated. All I wanted to do every single day was show up to my office, play golf with new potential clients and referrals, have lunches with those who wanted to agree to have lunch with me. And the afternoons, I would do plans with qualified individuals who my marketing team had set appointments with. That's it. That's all I did. And that's after being in the business for 2 years full time. Now, the reason why I did that is because I didn't value or want to do all those things. I didn't want to multitask my life. I want to be good at something really good. Yeah. And this actually sets us up for myth number 2, if I can share.
Yes, please.
Myth number 2 is productivity is the magic pill. All right. Productivity is the magic pill. Productivity is wonderful. And so, it gets sold. And, my former mentor, Dave Crenshaw, did a great job. He's a productivity leader, and he's probably much more productive than I am, and I'll probably ever be. However, that said, productivity is not the magic pill. It's a myth. If all you do is, because we're Americans, we want the easy thing. We want it now. We want it yesterday. Right. And so if we just take this productivity thing, then everything's going to be all right. Well, I was in the middle of teaching productivity to a mortgage officer or mortgage broker. He owned his own company, and they were growing at like 2,000% a month. Wow. This is crazy. They had a Forbes article written on him and just really described like what he was doing with the business, which was fantastic. But he had 5 kids like you, and he wanted to spend time with them. When you're working 80, 90-hour weeks, you don't have time for that. It just does not happen. Right. So he went through the training, and afterwards he looked at me, he's like, Travis, this is really good. This is going to make me super productive. But what's going to keep me from becoming, and now I coin it, a productive workaholic? And I was like, oh, what am I doing? Am I helping, these financial professionals be balanced or just more productive? And so it dawned on me that we need something to keep us at bay. It's boundaries. What are our boundaries? If we don't have amazing things to look forward to outside of life. And actually, that's how, Brent, that's how you and I started this conversation. How was Christmas? How was your break? And I told you, it was rough to actually come back in because 2 weeks off, I just want to hang out with my family. I'm getting used to that. Like, oh, I love this, hanging out with family and friends. I love what I do. Like, I'm super passionate about this. I want everybody to have the lifestyle I have, but I took 12 weeks off last year. We more than doubled our business last year. Why? Because I wasn't there. Like, it's legitimate. Like, there is a connection here. And if you don't have hobbies, health, sports, family, like stuff outside of work that's super important to you, that you feel passionate about, that you're growing toward, that you have goals for becoming your best version of, right, of yourself there on the outside, then that's not going to keep you from becoming a productive workaholic. It'll actually just, you'll get there. And that's why I find a lot of people who are super organized, who do get a lot of stuff done. I don't think you're a do-it-all, Brent, but you might be on this productive workaholic spectrum. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And it's just, it's to be constantly aware of it. And I mean, even you saying that, I'm like, yeah, I kind of know that, but how well am I doing that? And, the one thing that when you said that, it hit me, and again, I've gotten really good at getting structured, but then it goes back to, okay, well, what's really important? And I will denigrate myself here for a second. That's okay to do. It's true story. But like, one of the things that I have, mentors and coaches around me, but it's like, I see you've got all of this stuff really well done in your work day. When's date night? Right. When's the one-on-one time with your kids? Cause it's like, we got multiple, right? How are you going to do that? Like, is that on the calendar? Well, and so your point is well received. It's like, so I had someone say like, why don't you schedule that first?
Yep. Exactly.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So I don't know if you want to add to that, but I'm just saying I'm listening.
100%.
I'm listening.
100%. So the first part of this is, I call it the Magtime Method, is you need to know how to be productive at work, so that you're not multitasking your life away at work, and do the 5-6 things that are most important to you. I call it the work sweet spot. I outline in the book how to find it, how to do it, have the whole exercise there. Okay. But then once you have that, that's just supposed to reduce the time that you spend at work, so you can take the remaining time that you saved. Now that you've invested, you're saving some time. Now you're going to reinvest that time as an asset, right? We all know we're financial people. We're going to reinvest that time as an asset into the most important parts of your life. And now you're going to create an ideal calendar that's for business and personal. That's the boundaries. That's how you create it. So that way you have a life worth living outside of the office, and that you love living, so that, you still love your work, but you should be loving the stuff you do outside of it more. Like, I've never met a married man who owns a business that has said his career is his number one priority. Never in my life. I've met a lot of unmarried. I've met a lot of, of individuals who haven't made it or don't have a family. That's fine. Maybe that's their priorities, build their career first. I'm not going to judge them on that. But the reality is, I've never met a married man who said that in a straight, serious tone and believed it. Okay. Yep. It's usually 4, 5, maybe 6th priority, if we look at all the 10 priorities that we outline in the book. And what this does is, once you have this ideal calendar set up, I find the last issue to be probably the most important. Okay. This last myth, number 3, is essentially that personal development is the end all be all, to quote Shakespeare. Personal development is fantastic. We need to continue to develop. Like, I agree with your title of your book, be the best version possible, but you need to be able to do this with others, with friends, with accountability partners. If you are married, the most important accountability partner that you have in your life is your spouse. Period. End of story. My PhD was focused on research that looked at married couples, and married couples that work together, that had the same goals, direction, and values, and they went, they're going the same way. They were more happier personally, and had better psychological scores. They had better relationship, which is every part of the relationship. Okay. Every part, men. And financial scores were much higher. They had much higher financial stability. So healthier happier in the relationship and wealthier. Is that not what we're looking for in life? Is that not like every time someone's like, I'm going to make a New Year's resolution in January, has to do with those three things. Now, how do you do this? Well, this is the part that if you have a rocky relationship, you've got to do a lot of work. If you have a good relationship and you love each other, it's quite simple. You share these goals that you have and you work on them together. You keep each other accountable, not with a whip and a ball and chain. Like, this is not that kind of relationship. Yeah. This is the accountability, eternal partner relationship that every marriage dreams of. And as I worked with couples to do this, I found the short term, they can set an ideal calendar, they can do all the things. If they want long-term success past 90 days, they've got to get on board with their spouse to do this. And that's my secret sauce.
Well, if you're listening to this and not taking notes and understanding what Dr. Parry is saying, then you're missing the boat, because I'm listening and taking notes. And I think, and I know you've got another commitment you got to get to, and I want to respect your time, certainly. But just one follow-up to that hit me. I mean, I think what you're just hammering home so well is just comes back to, what do you really value? What do you really prioritize? And I think the thing that you said, you used the word structure earlier. And I think for a lot, this is just my feeling, but for a lot of hard charging entrepreneurs and business leaders and professionals, it's just, I want this freedom. I just want this freedom. I want this freedom. But if they never develop the right structure, they never get it. And that's kind of that weird thing is like, well, isn't structure the opposite of freedom? Right. I think what you're saying is, no, if you do it right, it actually does give you the freedom that you ultimately desire. Did I get that? Am I on the right track?
Dude, stamp of approval. You nailed it. I need a you nailed it stamp. You nailed it. Literally, it's the structure involved and the people that you have in place to help you to get there. Because personal development is good, but it will only take you so far. When you have your spouse, when you have family members, when you have your work team on board with helping you keep your calendar, all those things in place, all that accountability, you're going to do it. And this is what I found over and over again. If you want to know more, if you want to like, hey, I want to build my ideal calendar. I want to learn how to, be accountable. I want to learn how to be productive. I need all of these things. Great. Go to achievingbalancebook.com, get the book for free. You can also sign up for a 30-minute to 60-minute call with one of my team members. We'll help walk through, like, where are you? Are you a do-it-all? Are you a productive workaholic? Or are you a personal developer? Like, we'll help you figure out where you might stand. And the ideal is to get to become a balanced advisor. We've got events, we've got all sorts of stuff. You can connect with me on social media, or you can go to my website, travisparry.com, or just go to the book, achievingbalancebook.com, connect with us there. Happy to help. My passion is really to help other advisors have the type of life that they want to be living. Whatever balance is for you, I want to help you achieve that in this coming year.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad you're able to share that, because I said, I knew this was going to bring value to our audience. And again, there's so many things that we do with independent insurance agencies, but again, your nuance and how you look at things a little bit differently. I will tell you, the best professionals, they seek counsel from many people, because they're always trying to learn and grow. And I know what you do is important. It's been shown, and just want to thank you for your time today. Really appreciate having you on the podcast.
Thanks, Brent. Thanks for letting me share the vision and the message here with your audience. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for listening. As always, more exciting stuff coming your way on the Agent Leader Podcast. If you want to learn more about us and what we do, go to sitkins.com as well. We are releasing not just a book, but a movie's coming out. So we've got all kinds of stuff happening this year. But make sure to connect with Dr. Parry as well. So with all that, all the best in your success. Thanks for listening.